Hello and welcome back to me in the sandbox. So again, I'm in version 0.15 because that has creative mode tools. I am looking at building blue circuits. In my previous worlds, the normal thing I've done is had a main bus with green circuits on, some of which are consumed to make red circuits, and then a blue circuit fabricating area which consumes both red and green from the main bus. My experience of doing this is that you end up with a main bus which mainly makes green circuits to be consumed by the blue circuits. So you end up with a lot of machines generating stuff which never really makes it into your factory, it just goes into the blue circuit production. The reason for this is that blue circuits just need billions of green circuits to be made. That's on top of the ones that get consumed by making the red circuits. So I went into Factorio Planner thinking about making a self-contained blue circuit making area where none of the green circuits needed bussing in or out, and ideally none of the red circuits did. I played around with the ratios for how many to make a second, fiddled around with the numbers until I got things which had whole numbers of machines. And what dropped out was that because of the speed difference in how quickly blue circuits and green circuits are made, you need a 1-to-1 ratio of the machines for blue and green circuits to supply the greens for the blue. You obviously have the greens on top to make the reds you need. Unfortunately, we have a 5-to-6 ratio for the red circuits and the blue circuits. So there's no direct insert option here, and 5 and 6, you multiply those together, you end up with 30. There isn't a good solution for how to build the two fabrications together. You could have an area that made 5 red circuits and lost capacity for the 6th one, feeding into 5 blue circuit makers, one-on-one, I guess, but that didn't really appeal to me. And anyway, they need red circuits at very low capacity. So I think the plan is I'm going to have a dedicated green circuit making area for green circuits on the bus. Then I'm going to have a red circuit area using a variant on the design I put up in the last video, which makes the greens locally. Then I'm going to have a blue circuit making area which pulls in reds off the bus but makes all its greens locally. So to that end, I had a go at playing around with a few designs, and I'm going to show you a couple of them here. So let's get rid of this window. Right, here we are. So blue circuits take 10 seconds to make, and they consume 20 red circuits and 20 green circuits and 2 red circuits. So the red circuits are not an issue here. There's no throughput issue on the red circuits. This was my first attempt, so I've got a standard green circuit making 3-into-2 build in the center, and then it feeds up and down into the blue circuits. Then I have a split red and iron belt, and that basically works, right? That makes some blue circuits. The problem comes when you start scaling this up into a nice big stack. So the first one runs fine. The second battery of this is working sort of all right. The third one, by then you've run out of the iron, but you haven't really dented the red circuits. So this split belt is not running evenly on the 2 lanes. And it really limits you to about 3 pairs of blue circuits. So that's 6 blue circuit making machines. Now that may be fine for a lot of builds, but by the time you're making modules and things, that's just not going to scale. So I've got 2 issues here. First of all, by the time you're making lots, this is really extended. So this is for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 replicates, so 10 blue circuit machines. And it's taking up all that space. And that's because I'm making quite a stringy build because these blues are above and below. So I thought I'd attempt to do it so that the blues were to the side of the greens rather than above and below them. The entertaining thing there is that you've got this need to feed in your iron and your reds, And it's obvious from this build that if you're going to keep the green circuit makers going, they need a dedicated line of iron, not a split belt with the red circuits. So I had a bit of a fiddle around with various underground belt options and weaving and things, and none of those really worked. What I did come up with was this. So what you have is a dedicated line of red circuits which hardly gets touched. I'm really not worried about pulling off a line of reds from my main bus. Then that's fed with a long arm inserter into the blue circuit makers. Then we have a green circuit cassette here, and initially I was feeding the green circuits into the blue using a red long arm inserter, but the red long arm inserter wasn't keeping up with the speed. I tried adding 2 of them and got weird timing issues where the green circuits, there was sort of a race between the red arms as to which one was going to empty it or whether it was empty or not, and they were both pausing when the blue circuit maker ran out of green as to which one was going to take precedence filling it back up. So that really didn't work at all. What I ended up doing was putting in this little underground belt. So the green circuit feeds onto this mini underground, it just skips underneath the red circuits and then feeds it into the blue circuit maker. And that appears to work. So this is pushing them out at top speed. They're being picked up by this inserter here and then dumped in when it's got a handful. That works fine. So the other thing is we've got a full line of iron coming in. I've threaded the iron on undergrounds because just because for aesthetic reasons. This could have been an overground line of iron, to be honest, because there are no inserters anymore in the way. So this tiles quite nicely. Here is a little tiling of it. So I've got my single line of iron coming in, my single line of copper, and without showing spoilers, this works fine. But by the time we've done 1, 2, 3, 4 replicates, we are out of copper. And you can see we've not dented the iron or the red circuit makers. So that gives you 8 blue circuit makers, and 8 may well be fine, you know, for getting research done. It's not going to make you any tier 3 modules. So the issue here is we're running low on copper. Now it's very easy to run an extra line of copper on the outside by this, so that you could run a second line in. If you're going to do that, you may as well run 2 lines of iron and 3 of copper, make it nicely ratioed, and that's this build here. So we have 3 lines of copper coming in, 2 lines of iron. We stick in a bit of belt balancing every 2 green circuit cassettes, and then every 4 green circuit cassettes we balance the iron lanes over. So you can see this is working fine. This is making, this still hasn't consumed all the iron by the time we get to the top. Let's add on another unit just to see how well this works. Where's a nice place to take the unit from? So let's take it. Let's have a look. So it's a unit of 4. Let's right. Let's add this on the top and see how that goes. So that splitter lines up there, I think. Is that correct? Just checking there's no misalignment here. I'm trying to find where the iron balance, there's the iron balance. So the iron balance goes there. I'm not doing this right. Take it from the bottom. Okay, so that's four units, and if I line up a balancer on that balancer, that will be what we need. I kind of wish these blueprints were easier to to read, but there's a lot going on by the time you're doing these kind of size builds. That's it there. All right. So that's grown this by an extra unit. And in a minute, there's my construction bots. They're coming. Fly, my pretties. Ah, I think I must be out of range of a roboport or something. What's going on? Oh, it's just so far away that it's taking time to build. Not had that before. Up we go. I've been running the reds here on a yellow belt just because we're not even denting the sides of how much red we're consuming. Okay, there we are. Yeah, so that's fine. That's still able to add extra units on the end. So it looks like this is a generally scalable type of build. And I think, you know, we could just carry on adding units onto this for a while before we actually run out of throughput. There's another one we could add on there. Is that it? Yeah. I think I must have put some of the splitters on the side manually and I haven't quite lined them up. Okay, we're out of roboport range here. Let's add some of those. There we are. So this is getting a bit insanely long, right? There's no way you'd want to build anything this length in a real game. But it is kind of showing that you can just continue building this out and getting more and more blue circuits. So I think what I'm going to do is build something a bit like this in my water rails world. I will probably make something much shorter but double width so that I've got two of these stacks emptying onto the same central belt. Maybe offset them by one tile so that I'm pushing into a single blue belt. And we will see how that goes. Anyway, thanks for watching. If you have any better self-contained builds for blue circuits, I would love to hear. Other than that, have fun with Factorio and looking forward to all the useful mods being ported over to 0.16. All the best, have a great rest of the week.